recording. Like, yay. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Business Spotlight. I have the honor today of introducing a guest with a passion for art and therapy who lives in Florida. I'm a little jealous of all three there. So, welcome, Leah Guzman. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on here today, Susan. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. So I see your beautiful artwork behind you. It looks like you do some abstract work. Is that true? Or
Yeah. I'm a painter and I do some abstract work, but then I incorporate some like realistic things too. Here's a little like lotus within it. So a lot of backgrounds in abstract, and then I'll put like more of a realistic object in there too.
nice. And I saw on your Instagram account that you have some, flowers of life. And so you have some sacred geometry mixed into your work as well.
Yes, I like to have that spiritual component. Yeah, like this series, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have like this hexagon pattern, which is, it's like signature of like the bees and the honeycomb and sacred geometry. And then there's little birds, and the little birds are little spiritual beings, little spiritual creatures to me, because I see them all around. I always feel like they're giving me messages. And it's so funny when I see the bird, I'll look it up and I'll look up their symbolism, and they do have a message. Each one has a specific message. So it's pretty cool. I've been seeing warblers lately. This is the ones that I have in the back. And they're about stepping into your power, which is really cool.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah. I'll get one and I'll show you a little bit more so you can see it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's very cool. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really detailed too. I didn't even realize that you were going, that's a very realistic painting.
Yes. So it's realistic, and then I put the abstract designs in the background.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you're an artist and an art therapist. Is that correct?
Yes, I balance both worlds.
And how did you get into that? Like, was there, I don't want to go too deep. Like, was there a trigger or something like that? But how did you feel, like, what drew you into that area, and how do you work in like a therapeutic setting as well?
Well, yeah, I've always been an artist. And then in like on my high school years, I was submitting my work out there and getting judged. I was putting in juried shows and things like that. And one of the jurors, the judges asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was like, I love psychology, I love art. And so they told me about art therapy. They sent me this little article about this little boy who had cancer, and he had an art therapist that would come into the hospital and help him with his emotions by drawing out a little Pac-Man eating away his cancer cells. And then he eventually went into remission. I was like, man, that's really beautiful. How powerful, that you could help people through the art. And I was like, I knew that it's what I wanted to do. So I got my undergraduate in art, actually in studio sculpture. And then I went ahead and got my master's in art therapy. So yeah, so during that time, I was making art, and, and I wanted to actually help people too. So so I've worked with, many different populations. I love working with students in schools. I've been doing that for about 17 years. I have a private practice as well, where I'm mostly working with artists, creatives who are wanting to, work on their mental health, find balance within themselves, but also want to show up bigger, meaning that they want to like tap into like helping others, or they just want to build that confidence to share their artwork with other people, those type of things. So yeah, I've been doing that, and I've been really enjoying it.
Well, it sounds like something that's really necessary, especially for artists, because a lot of artists are really reserved about their own work. You have, it seems like there's two sides of the coin there. There's either the people that are very open with and expressive with their art, and then there are those who are fabulous and talented, but keep it close to their chest and don't really show anybody.
Yeah, and that was me, I have to admit. One of my professors, I remember in college, told me that I was like a turtle in their shell. And I was like, what? I remember it made me so mad.
Uh-oh.
But it was me. It was she was really being truthful that I really didn't like show up and share my work. And I really didn't even share my work with other people until I was like in my 30s. And it was that because I went through a period of not creating, and then I wanted to create, and I knew that I wanted to go, share with the world and actually sell it. So it was through that like kind of dark night of the soul, like coming out. Yeah, I learned so much that now it's my point of helping others do that same thing, because it gets to the point where you do want to show up and share
Yeah.
your work. I mean, you're like, how do you do that? How do you get over your ego? How do you get over that fear? And you do it with love. You do it through connecting to source, and you're just sharing the joy. You're just sharing what makes you happy. So I make my art honestly for myself, even though I do sell it, but I make it because it's my therapy. It's like my way to decompress, to get into the zone, to feel good, to connect to source. And then I do sell it, but it's part of my healing journey too.
I love that, because it has to be for you first, because almost,
Mhm,
I mean, there is that corporate art and there is graphic design and everything that
mhm.
is created for other people. But there's that unique, true, passionate art that comes from a different place entirely, I feel like.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it does go to the point like you might do might do a commission for somebody and they want something specific, but I think the past several years I've been really just being authentic with my own voice and like finding out who I am and who I want to be, like showing up to share my art with others, and that's really important. So if I did a commission, it would definitely be like in my style and wanting to put it out there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And you've
Yeah.
channeled your work into a deck recently.
Yeah, which is really exciting how this came about. There's this book I've been wanting to create. When I started sharing my art with the world, I was really into energy and particularly the chakras. Like I really loved how like working with my clients, I would see how if they're dealing with a lot of anxiety and they had like root chakra issues, if they were dealing with like money and things like that, a lot of red would come up, right? And red was, they were attracted to red because they needed that color to help them heal. And so I started noticing that pattern with myself and with my clients. So I wanted to create a book that had art exercises that specifically went through each chakra and how to do art to help get balance so you can get into alignment. So I wrote this book called The Art of Healing and Manifesting.
Oh,
And yeah, so it's connecting to a lot of attraction techniques and chakra knowledge and my art therapy background. So the art experiences are very much healing in that aspect. And yeah, I'm really excited about putting this out into the world. It's called Creative Exercises for Living in Abundance. So we get into alignment, you can bring in your desires. And then through that, I created this deck. And so what's really cool about the deck is that on one side, as you can see, it is like a rainbow, just like the chakras. And so each there's 7 cards for each of the chakras. So they're focusing on self-care. So it's a lot of healing, and it has directives too, if you need to, if you want to like manifest something as well, like what to do in your life. So on one side it has that, and then on the other side it actually has my artwork that
oh, cool.
it's like a collection of my artwork in the so that you can get an idea. So this part was fun because I never like as I created a ton of art, but then I never really realized that I was connecting. I mean, I was always feels like it was very spiritual and connected to source, but I didn't realize that the themes of it was actually connected to the chakras as well. So when I started putting the deck together, it was just like this aha, like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. Like I was doing all this heart artwork and, related to the heart chakra. And so it was fun. It was really fun, putting these together and um, yeah, getting these printed. So it's like something that I can use on a daily basis, that I can put, give to others, and they can use it on their journey as well when they need guidance.
Oh, that's really cool, because they're much more multifaceted than I was able to picture in like the pictures that you sent over. I thought that the the drawings were actually other cards and not on the back of those chakra cards. So that's really interesting. What's your favorite
Yeah.
one?
Oh, that's a good question. Mm, I have to say this butterfly girl is really, I'm really drawn to. Oh, okay. Well,
You're
hold
all
on.
like, it
There's a
depends on the
couple.
day.
Yeah, it does. I have a few paintings that I really like. Okay, this one's really nice. I like this one. This one is a labyrinth, and it
Ooh,
has a
wow.
light lantern in the middle, and it's called, the painting is actually called Finding My Way Home. It's a really big
Okay.
painting. It's about 36 by 48 inches.
Wow.
And you probably like this because it has a lot of floral, like from Florida. It has the
Yeah.
birds of paradise and the orchids and the things like that. But this one is on the back. It's called the treasure map. So
Hmm.
this is, the direction is creative visualization is a powerful way to manifest. Visualize what you want to focus on to produce powerful changes in your life. Create your own treasure map. Map your course by drawing out the plan.
Hmm.
So this would be like a manifesting card of, taking the time. So the treasure map is actually one of exercises in my book. So you can see how they go together, but this is what you would call it. So I like this one a lot.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous card. Like the colors are very rich and it's intuitive as well. So you don't really necessarily have to flip it over or, the guidebook is good to have, but there's also a very visceral understanding of the meaning within the card.
Mhm.
So I like that
Yeah.
because a lot of people sometimes you just want to zone out and look at something and get a message and
Mhm.
not necessarily read or refer to anything, but just allow that message to kind of lead you.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool to look at as well. Like you don't even have to look at the back. You could just, look at maybe the front card and just say what is drawn to you. And I've actually been using them for my paintings. I've been
Oh,
picking a card and then saying, okay, like I took this card, which is the lotuses, and then I said, okay, that'll be my inspiration. And that's when I created this little chakra painting of the crown chakra. I was
oh,
like that, and I
nice.
painted that. So yeah, I've been using them as a tool for my own artwork of like what inspiration is coming up. So it's fun.
Oh, that's really cool. And you said that, so we're recording this mid to end of February, and
Mhm,
because of all of the things that are transpiring in the world, basically, you're looking
mhm.
at a mid-March 2022 release date for the cards and the book, correct?
Yes, I wish I had an exact date, but that's what it's looking like as of right now. For the cards are printed, they're just making the boxes, and then the book just has a couple more things to be finalized, and it should be headed off to the printer. So we're like so close. I really wanted it to come out on 2222 because I love that magical number, especially for manifesting. But I always say if it doesn't come out exactly how you want it, the universe has something even better in
Yeah.
store. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I can't wait for them to come out.
Well, the book and the deck are both really, really gorgeous and
Thank you.
very, yeah. And it seems like the book you said also includes a number of exercises that people can sit down and do to explore their energy fields and do some art therapy on themselves.
Yeah, definitely. So it's go through each chapter. There's different ways they can use it. I actually have an art therapy assessment, or I'm sorry, a chakra assessment, so you can see where you might be imbalanced.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's on my site. Yeah, I have a lot of resources in there. I have some meditations to help you get grounded, so that, to do the art exercises. But yeah, you can check yourself and say, you know what, I need to spend a little bit more energy or more focus on that sacral chakra. So let me start there. But yeah, the idea would be to create your own full chakra set. So the paintings, I have a little chakra set right here. I could show you. Some of the exercises are to create your own little
Oh, wow.
mini chakra paintings. Yeah. And so each of the paintings have affirmations, And I call it activated art because you might want to manifest something, or maybe you need to heal something, right? Because a lot of times when you want to manifest something, there has to be some healing work in there. And so you put the whatever it is that you want to manifest or heal into the writing of the work.
Cool.
So yeah, so this is kind of like a chakra set. I've been doing these chakra sets for a while, and they're really fun because when you put them all together, it just comes out like joy. It's just the colors you can see here. It's
Right.
really, it's like a rainbow, right? And it's just magical. And that's actually one of my signs. We get a lot of rainbows here in Miami, I have to admit that. But it's like, if I ever have a question about something, or I feel I'm going on the right track, I'll see that rainbow and I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you, universe, for the sign.
I love that because, and hopefully you see the rainbow and you don't say, oh, wait, I have to see another rainbow. Was that really my rainbow? No, I'm just kidding. You know how
No,
some, yeah.
no, it's always on point. Like it's usually when I ask the question, like I'll ask, well, what about this? Like, in what direction should I go? Or, and then I'll get it. I mean, it doesn't always come through the sky too. And actually, I tell
Right.
this story in the book. I was working, I had asked, I can't remember the specific question, but I had asked the universe for a sign. I was like, I need a sign about this. Can you tell me? And it was so cute. I was working with this, one of my students, he's like 7 years old, and he was cleaning out his palette, and he yells, Miss Guzman, come over here, come look at my rainbow that I just made. And I was like, oh, that's my sign, thank you.
That's so awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's perfect and the signs come up and it's so nice that you're open to receiving them no matter, and you have your key sign. Say,
Hmm.
okay, a positive is a rainbow.
Yeah, I like those. I like numbers too. Do you like
Ah,
numbers? Do you ever
I
look for
do.
signs in numbers?
I, uh,
Yeah.
I'm yeah, sometimes I wonder, like, seriously, because I read tarot also and read cards,
Oh,
and so
okay.
there's such an intersect between numerology and tarot. But then
Uh-huh.
I'm also somebody who thinks that you don't necessarily need to have a deck of cards in front of you, that you should
Okay.
be, kind of familiar enough, like with the rainbow or with the birds that you're looking up or with these different signs, or even look it up later on,
Hmm.
to see, okay, what's the 444 there, or what's the 1111, or,
Hmm.
555, not sure about that. That's a little bit, so yeah, long and short of it, yeah, I'm kind of symbolism, numbers, animals, signs, the whole 9 yards, basically.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's what I included in here in the book, and then also the cards. Do you want me to pull a card for you?
Sure, I would love that. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So it's not like a tarot deck. I know some people are like, what's the difference between tarot and oracle? So the oracle is mostly just, for this deck, is just to pull one card.
mhm.
Um, you could just think about something that your desire, like for yourself, you don't have to say it. Or maybe it's something that you need healing with, or you're challenging, something that's like you're struggling with. And then I'll pick a card for you. That sound good?
Okay. Yep, that sounds really good.
Okay. Okay. Ooh, you got an action card.
Okay, yeah.
This is,
Oh,
oh, let me see, can you see it?
ooh,
It has
that's
a lotus, but it has a
beautiful.
lot of yellow in it. This is one of my older
Yeah.
paintings. It says, take action towards your desires. What is one area of your life that action would create the biggest ripple effect? Taking baby steps every day can lead to a major shift in achieving your dreams. What is one step you can take today to move your dreams to reality?
No.
Hmm.
So it's funny because I was like, what's blocking me from achieving my goals? And it's just like baby steps, instead of like thinking about a leap ahead, just really putting in the one step at a time and focusing on what has the biggest impact as well.
Most definitely. And consistency. I think that's really key, right? Is
Yeah.
being consistent, of taking those actions.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like you're intuitive, like you're working with people in an artistic manner?
Mhm.
And do you receive impulses when you're working with them and messages, or is it basically interpreting, um, what they're telling you and using your intuitive guidance along that area?
Yeah, it's both of those. So usually when I come to a session, when I'm working with someone, I definitely include my intuition. I'm listening to what they're saying, and what their needs are, and then guiding them intuitively of what I think their next, to get to that next best step, so that they can see it. So a lot of times we get stuck in patterns, or we get stuck in not knowing which, not having that clarity of like which direction.
Mhm.
And so I'm helping them by guiding them, holding that space for them so that they can draw it out, so they can make art about it. And a lot of those messages will come in the art. So, whether we're doing collage, it might be certain words that will pop up or like come together, or they do the drawing of like things that they want to manifest, and they get a lot more details, and it gets more clear, right? They have a lot more clarity. Or if they're not just sure which direction to go, just drawing out those two paths. Okay, what happens? Which one feels like the right, like just by the drawing, you could see where the energy is. Like that
Right.
energy feels good. Feel
Yeah.
that way. Sometimes you just need to put it outside of yourself so that you can really see. That's what I love about the art therapy, is it's like you get the visual,
Right.
and it makes them a lot more clear.
Yeah. And when you're teaching this, because I know you teach it online as well at leahguzman.com. You have
Mhm.
some classes as well. So because I'm looking at your art supplies behind you and I'm thinking, if somebody were to sit down with your book or with one of your classes, would they need to have a kind of what's it called, a few supplies to start out working with, like a rainbow, watercolors or acrylics or brushes or crayons, or what would you recommend? Or does it
Yeah.
list it in your book too?
Well, yeah, there is a supply list in there in the book,
Okay.
for just starting out. But yeah, I definitely recommend when I start working with some, because not everyone has to be an artist. I mean, it's great. I do work with a lot of artists that are already like they feel comfortable expressing themselves. But sometimes I work with people that are just they want to get their toes wet, or they used to make art a long time ago and they want to get back into that creative practice. And I do recommend having a little watercolor palette, definitely having a journal to keep everything, so that
Mm.
everything doesn't get all over the place. There's something safe that you can close and put away, bring back out. I love oil pastels, are really expressive. Colored pencils, just some markers are great. Even acrylic paints, like a little simple set of acrylic paints, are nice to start with. But yeah, just I think those are just kind of basic supplies, just so that you can be expressive and play with the art.
Right. And do you recommend that people, let loose and take off the reins, or is there direction, like, or is it kind of a combination of both?
Well, yeah, it's a great question. Well, when I work with one-on-one with people, I do, it's more guided. And so I let them know. And obviously they're going to use their own style, their own interpretation of, what's going to come through. And I encourage that. I mean, I worked with one client, and she just loved cutting up squares of colored paper and then making collages at it. And that was her session. That was the way she expressed herself. But it would have some deeper meaning, because whatever we were working on within that, right? But when I work, I have a membership group, which is a lot of fun. It's called the Creative Soul Society, and I love it. We meet a couple of times a month, and I give the directive. Like this, we did a self-love art journaling session this past week, and it was so fun because everybody interpreted so differently. We did collage work, and it was just fun to see everybody. It's not like I'm saying you have to do this and do this. It's just like, look, this is our theme, and it was so fun to see how everything came out totally different, but it had so much love and so much expression, and it was all about themselves. So it was just like, love yourself up, find at least 15 things of what you love about yourself, or things that you do love in your life, and that was fun. So yeah, that's what's beautiful. Just like, as long as you're being expressive. That's what's most important.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and I think people right now, everything is so cerebral and text based and,
Hmm.
really kind of in a lot of people's worlds, you know.
Hmm.
And so working with, tactile, colorful, expressive, more, I don't even know how to say it, like where there is allowed to be more than one meaning or interpretation and there is no perfection, kind of thing, is a nice relief a lot of times.
Yeah, it's definitely about the process, not about the product. I know we can get like stuck in the outcome. That's what I love about having this
Yeah.
openness, is that whatever needs to come out, let it come out, and what's the surprise at the end? Let's find out, and we can get lost along the way, and then work on it. I do that a lot of times in my paintings. Like, these are works in progress behind me, but I get lost along the way, and then eventually I'll find myself again, right? And so that's what this is about. It's just kind of finding that clarity and finding that direction, and you can learn about yourself through that process.
Right. And the creative process is sitting right there in between God and the material in some ways.
Mm, yes, most definitely. I always say the art is the oracle. So it's connecting, and then it has this message. So if you can just open that space. I like to meditate beforehand. I like to just kind of get clear, kind of calm myself so I can get grounded, and then just like kind of let it come through. And it's so satisfying. Like it's just, you just get into that zone, and they've done studies on it. Like there's research about like how the cortisol level drops, that your stress hormones drop. And then when you're in that flow state, that also releases the dopamine. So you feel good, right? So you're going to feel good afterwards. You're going to feel satisfied. And it's addicting. I know that it's like one of the best things I'm addicted to, because if I go without doing it for like several days, I'll feel like something's missing. I'm like itchy, I'm like, oh, I need I need to feel good. Ah, so it's really great.
No, I love hearing that. And it is addicting. I was just like, the other day, I was just like, oh, well, and I can't carry all of these canvases home. And then I was just like, I manifested a dream life. I have blank canvases in my closet that are just ready to have paints and supplies and everything. I was like, do people need more than this?
That's awesome. Do you have paintings with you?
I don't have any like that I would, no, they're not there yet. I'm a closet painter. Let's put it
Oh,
that
that's
way.
great that you're painting. I love to hear that. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, yeah. So I can really connect with you on the art side of things and on
Mhm.
the, just dropping into that space. And I love the fact that you bring up that it's good for us. It helps,
Mhm.
curb those negative hormone releases and the stress hormones that so many of us are battling with right now. And it's probably really a good, kind of pastime, especially if you're stuck in the house or,
Mhm.
you know, so yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of that, like, I think the hardest part is actually sitting down to do it. Because I know for me that when I do get out of my little flow state, the hardest part is just showing up in my studio, and I just have to come sit here. And I'm like, you know what? I just need to sit here, and it'll be okay. Something will happen. I'll clean up, and then eventually I'll get back into it. But I know that I think that's sometimes the hardest part, is just showing up. It's I know yoga people talk about that. Like, it's the hardest part is showing up to the mat, right? It's the same thing. It's just showing up, creating that time, right, in your schedule to say, hey, I'm going to do this, and it's important. I do that. I put it in my calendar. I put it in my. I was like, you know what? It's got to happen because it's important to me, right?
And this is your personal work rather than your work, artwork, or is there a distinction between the two at all?
No, it's the same.
Okay.
It's really the same for me. Yeah. As I was saying, I know I do it for myself, but I do sell it. But it's my self-care. I know that it makes me feel my 100%. So that's why I block it in so that I can show up as my best self.
Yeah. Awesome job there. So yeah, definitely.
Well, that's just from like going through dark times and knowing that it needs to happen.
Right.
Wasn't an easy way to getting there, right?
Well, and that's the tortured artist though coming out, and that
Mm-hmm.
is, tapping into that creativity is sometimes unexpressed emotion. It is sometimes
Mm-hmm.
rage or fear or desire and longing or, frustration in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So and to combine, and you probably know that you're speaking to the leader of the choir here, that um it's getting, and I'm glad that this is starting to become more mainstream as a form of therapy too.
Most definitely. I am really happy about that. I mean, I graduated with my master's back in 2003, and anytime that I would tell anybody what I was doing, it's like, what is that? And now when I tell people what I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. Not that they might have experienced it, but at least they've heard of it, which is so important. And actually, my second book that I wrote was called Essential Art Therapy Exercises. And my intention when I wrote that, and it's like a collection of my art therapy practice for like 17 years. I wanted that for people to have something that at least have like a taster. It's like they could do this at home. They could, experiment with it. It's not the deep dive. I want to say that it's more of like to manage like your emotions. But, I always feel like the deep dive is with an actual art therapist so that you can reflect on your behaviors, reflect on your thoughts, have someone to hold you accountable, that type of work. But it's definitely just to get the word out. I just wanted people to know about it. So it's part of my mission too, just showing up and sharing the love.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so necessary. And like you said, the
Mhm.
more you talk about it, the more mainstream it becomes. And
Mhm.
then, it just opens different doors and people might feel more safe and comfortable expressing themselves through color and texture and placement rather than
Mhm.
through actual words, or even the process of doing the work might actually break down some barriers when they're talking to you, and or free them to feel more comfortable and secure.
Yeah, most definitely. It's about creating that safe space, right?
Mhm.
Especially in the therapy session. So yeah, building that relationship with someone, being able to express yourself when you don't have the words, you're not like so overwhelmed, you're like, I don't even know what to call this. Usually like you get help when you're in that hole or you need help, right? And then sorting it out so that it doesn't look so overwhelming. So you can kind of say, okay, this is why this is happening, and examining those triggers and examining why things are happening, and then make those shifts. Make the new story, make the new steps moving forward, right, to get where you want to go.
Right. Do you see a progression in the artwork, or do you see, kind of a calming or even a more flurry activity if as they're working through their problems?
Well, I mean, I always like to start with where you want to get to. Like I want to know
Mm.
what the goals are for my clients. So it's kind of like I like to start from the end to see what that looks like where are we going, how do you want to show up, what do you want your life to look like that. But then we got to examine all those blocks. So the artwork, it will look heavy. It's gonna go through all like, maybe they're separating from their partner, or they have a lot of trauma that hasn't been processed, or and so it gets we sort through that. So that is that process of putting it out there, and expressing yourself, and then it starts to shift because they're incorporating more art into their lives. They're making it part of their self-care practice, and I'm holding them accountable of like their priorities for each week. And then it gets more into, whether, because some artists are creating series, it's like they want to be able to put artwork and put it onto the world, or some artists, have done the healing work and now they want to teach other people in some way. Like maybe they want to share their Reiki practice, or maybe they want to, they're a recovering addict and they want to be able to help other people who are recovering, so that's part of my job, is to give them that confidence, give them those tools so that they can take that step to share their gifts. That's where I feel like my purpose is, and doing my work that I do. Yeah.
I love that. And it's something that we need so much right now. So there is this ripple effect of the people who you're working with then can help other people.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And it makes me happy. It makes me so happy to see the ripple effect. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Definitely.
And you said you've been working with this for 17 years now. So that's you're definitely deeper into the process. So
yeah, definitely. It's I graduated class because it's been almost like 18 years. Time keeps going by really quick. Yes, I've definitely had different experiences, worked with a lot of different populations. And yeah, now I feel like I'm at a point where I still love working with students in schools, but I really do love working with creatives who, are wanting to take that next step in their lives of, working on themselves, and then have that, then to show up another way and have that ripple effect.
Yeah. So you kind of evolved in your clientele base, basically, too.
Yeah, most definitely. It feels more like a niche now. Yeah, I'm helping people.
Yeah, it sounds like it too. How long, to change the subject kind of a little bit completely, but how long does it take to put together a deck? Because that is something I know a lot of people who are listening to my podcast are probably interested in finding out. Like, what's the time frame kind of?
It took me a year to do this. And it was interesting because it went through so much metamorphosis. It's kind of funny. I will show you how I first started. I first started with this deck, which I created. I just made little cut pieces of watercolor paper, and I started doing sketches. And this one is for self-compassion.
Oh, nice.
So hugging yourself in a mirror. Oh, this one's letting go of judgment. This one was like birds flying out of the birdcage. So this is what I started with. And then I got a real fancy iPad. I splurged and I was like, you know what? I feel like I need an iPad to put my deck in. And so I put all the images in my iPad, took pictures, and I had them all laid out because I wanted to see them all together in a different, other than this, in this way. I wanted to see them in a digital way. And I didn't like them. I don't know. It wasn't, I was like something, I felt like I was more contrived. I wasn't 100%. I was like, there's something off. And then I took one of my art pieces because I spend many hours on creating a painting. I've 10 hours, 15 hours, creating portraits and paintings and stuff. So then I just started throwing those in there, and I was like, oh, these have so much more depth. This was like a little sketch. Nothing's wrong with little sketches. I think little sketches are great, but I just felt like this resonated more, the one that I had put more time into, and it resonated with more the message, because there were several cards that I wasn't sure with. And then when I started switching them out, it kind of came really quickly. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a full deck here. And that happened within a week, right? I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, that part happened really fast. But then there's so much more to just putting the images in here. So once you have the images, you have to find someone to help you print these, right? So you can, if you're going to do large orders, you would go overseas to China. But if you're going to do something like a smaller deck, so I had to find a printer that would actually print a deck, print both sides. And they're not even done. This is just a sample deck, and they haven't even this is gonna have a gold edge, which I'm really excited about. They're gonna paint gold edges. They put a really soft texture. So they feel, they're like super smooth. Like I love that part. Like when you hold them, they feel really, really, really soft. So all of these little details, it's like I had to go check. They're like, do you like this? Send it back. Do you like this? Same thing with my book. That's why it takes everything. It takes forever to go through because there's all these little details. And so, yeah, the whole process actually took a year because you don't really, there's a million decisions. And if you ever remodeled your house, this is what it feels like. I don't know if you've ever done that before. That was a million decisions too. Creating my book was a million decisions. So it was part of that process of, what do I keep? What do I take? What do I move around? Yeah, because like even when you make a deck, you have to decide, do you want text? Where do you put the text? Do you have a guidebook to go with it? Do you want the text colored? There's just so many little details that I can't even tell you, but it's good to, think of a theme, what your theme that you want. Go ahead and start with the paper form. If you don't have an iPad, you can always start with paper form, just for fun, to hold them and see them. If you need to hire an artist, you can hire someone. At one point, I thought I was going to hire an artist. I was thinking that, when I was doing this deck, I was like, I feel like I need some sort of graphic designer. And that's when I kind of switched gears and I was like, let me just put my own artwork. And then I was like, oh, that feels good. It felt more complete when I did that. So yeah, it just kind of listening and kind of going on the journey and seeing what happens. But yeah, it took a year and I could have kept going because every time that he would send it back to me to look at it, to edit, I always had things to change. I was like, you got to stop sending this to me. Just do it.
The end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I can imagine because it like you said though, I mean there are so many little decisions to make, and that's not only, that's choosing pictures that go along with whatever message and also with that whatever chakra that you're working on, and if you've had any kind of evolution in thought in the meantime, and then you're just like, ooh, this card, or I need to add one, or yeah. Did you use Procreate? Can I ask?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I never used it before. So I was teaching myself how to use Procreate during this whole process of, learning how to do it, which was great because I was, I learned how to use the layers, and it made it really easy to send it to the printer as well, because it was already in digital format and you could just send them all over in a big file. So that made it, yeah, I definitely like the iPad. That's been very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're so lucky, seriously, that we have access to just this wealth of digital product kind of making things easy, because like your deck that you just showed us, your prototype deck that you started out with, I see those sometimes when I go to the museum, like the ones from the 1400s who are, or, from, just local artists or whatever that were putting together these decks on cardboard and just fascinating. It's such a fascinating process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I did the Procreate, but then because after I had made those and I was putting in there, it was little changes. I was like, okay, well, should I recreate the whole card, by hand, or learn how to use Procreate, which is really easy, and then make the little changes, whether it was a color or add something. It made it so much easier. So that's kind of where it started of doing it, and then I switched it all around.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the process. It is a process. I think some people don't realize, especially, oh, it's just a deck of cards. No, every card in the deck is a piece of art. The back is a piece of art. There's so much attention to detail and to feeling and to, just putting all of these little layers and subtleties in there that make each card a message.
Yes. And I even I started creating these little, they're made out of clay, but they're little holders, little stands, and I put a little stamp of my logo is the key. I don't know if you can see that, but it's this. So what I did was I started stamping the clay, and I made these little holders for the cards. So when I mail the packages, they'll be able to, and I'm spray painting them gold, so they look like gold bars.
Oh, nice.
So they'll sit in a little holder. They're being fired right now, so I don't have them to show you. But yeah, so it's like you can have your card for the day, and you can either have like the message for the up, or you can have the artwork up for the day. But yeah, it's just so you can like sit and appreciate.
Well, and you could also use that as a piece on your altar for different, for different Sabbats or festivals, or even manifestation work, because that's a part of your work as well as manifestation. So
Yeah.
if there's something that you're really working on, then why not light a candle, get some incense, get some crystals going, and really kind
Mm.
of amplify the energy of the process and the
Oh my
work that you're
goodness.
doing.
Well, 222 is coming up on soon. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a whole ritual with that. I love how you said all of that.
Well, it makes it more of an experience, and it really helps you to, kind of add a little bit of fire to the energy of the meaning of the card and the meaning of the work
Mhm,
that you're doing within yourself to
mhm.
achieve whatever outcome you're looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
I like that. I'm all like, I can't wait to buy it and to show people because I'm a little bit of a duck hound. So yeah,
How many decks do you have?
I had to stop a couple of years ago because I think I have like 75 or 80 or something like that. But
No way.
yeah,
Wow, that's
but
amazing.
it's not, I mean, people have like cabinets shoved just full of decks. And it started to get where I was buying these decks from, that I was kickstarting, or that I had a relationship with
Mhm.
a friendship or whatever with the creator. And I was really excited about
Uh-huh.
their deck coming out. And I just never, like, I just opened one the other day and I had kickstarted it. I really love this girl's work and I just haven't had time to work with the deck. And so I just thought, love supporting the creators and everything, but
Mhm.
at what point do I say enough is enough?
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that collection could go into a museum one day.
that is true. That is true.
You have a nice collection.
Yeah, and I can get a wax figure made of myself, and I can I'm just kidding.
Your altar with the
Yeah,
cards.
just kidding. Yeah, nah, and yeah, like sometimes I'm like, where did that deck go? But it's interesting because if I don't necessarily work with the deck for a while and then I find it after a while, just kind of randomly going through something, it's amazing how much connection I get with this, kind of random happenstance of coming
Yep.
across a deck. Yeah. So
Love
it's,
that.
yeah, it's really yeah, fabulous. So Creative Soul Society is
Mhm.
your group program,
Yes.
and you meet a couple of times a month, you said,
Mhm.
and people can find your work on leahguzman.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we're talking right now, February 18th. So
Mhm.
you're wanting to hit the 222 deadline, but it might not be happening. So you're looking at mid-March, early April for the release of your deck. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I am surrendering right now. They told me like within another week, but I don't know. It seems like the date keeps getting pushed a little bit. But they said everything is printed. They're just making the boxes.
Oh,
So yeah, so the deck will be ready pretty soon, the next week or two. The book is, yeah, I don't have the exact date. They do a Kickstarter, so I do have orders to fulfill. So I'm really excited to get them, in their hands. But I'm thinking it's probably going to be end up being March. I'm surrendering right now, so I wish I had a date, but I don't.
I understand.
Yeah.
Lately everything has been kind of out of everybody's hands. I mean, and I think that
Hmm.
luckily people are getting used to it, at least, because at first we ordered lawn furniture in September. No, we ordered it in May. It was
Hmm.
supposed to come in September, and then we ended up getting it in November or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So it's just really, that's how things have been lately. So I think people will be excited about getting it when it comes. And so it's just, giving them that warning, like it might
Hmm.
not be exactly. And Are they for pre-sale now, or are you going to fulfill your Kickstarter and then start selling them from the reserves?
Well, yeah, so I did the Kickstarter and that ended, and then now I put it onto my site as just selling through myself.
Okay.
And then once it's, all ready to go to the printer, it'll be uploaded on Amazon and then in different places where people can purchase it. So yeah, so I'm still taking orders, but then just letting them know just gotta wait a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. And the book, we talked about this a little bit before, I think we started recording, but the book is a separate entity from the deck, and they do go
Yes.
together, but they're separate purchases.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The book is really cool because it has different interviews in there with people who are creatives and who are manifestors, and their life experiences of how they used art to help them heal and manifest. So I have the interviews, and then I have, like I said, like the chakra knowledge, and then all the art experiences laid out in the book, going through each of the chakras.
Oh, that sounds really cool. So it's not like a companion guide, but it's a definite experience in and of itself.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good to know too, because that sounds like I want both. No, so yeah, definitely. Well, everybody, again, this is Leah, LeahGuzman.com. So Leah Guzman, and she's an artist and an art therapist who is coming out with her new deck and book in mid-March. Yeah. So thanks so much for tuning in. We do have a couple of Leah's events also listed on our new events page. So if you're curious about attending one of Leah's sessions, you can look either on her site, or if you can't remember that and you look on our site, she's there too. So thank you so much, Leah. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will talk soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.